welcome to another episode here of the Dropkick Basement, presented by myself, your host, Mike Madden, and my co-host, the gimmickless Tommy Schultz. Tommy, how's we're in the middle of the summer. How's the summer treating you so far?
The summer couldn't be better. Just came back from vacation and really wish I was back there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Good old summer. And the summertime reminds us of some of the biggest and most successful moments in wrestling history, that's for sure.
I agree. Yeah, we during our pre-production meeting, we labeled July as NWO month, and we're right here at the end of July. We're getting this in under the right under the wire to talk about a little bit of NWO history, to chat a little bit about what could have been, kind of a reimagining maybe of some of the issues, some of the storylines that went into it. By the way, if anybody's looking for Certified 5 Matt Geiger, so are we. He's not in studio.
Missing poster today.
Missing
He's on the side of your milk carton.
That's right, missing person. So feel free to hit him up on social media and tell him how much you miss him on the Dropkick Basement episodes. Hopefully, by the time we get to the end of the summer or the early part of the fall, Matt's back on the microphone and helping us out. But this is a pretty Tom-driven episode here. So. Take us through some of the thoughts before you even get into the details of it. Some of the thoughts of the NWO, the history, the time frame of when those guys took over the pro wrestling world in your mind.
So in my wrestling bubble, I was, as a kid, I was mainly a WWF guy.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I grew up on. That's what I was accustomed to watching, and right around the time that Hogan jumped to WCW is when I really, started paying attention there.
Mm-hmm.
But when Hogan jumped, I don't know. It just felt flat. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. When he was in WCW, it didn't have the same luster that it did in the WWF. And so I was kind of, I wasn't really tuning in very much. And then I was on vacation in Long Beach Island with my family.
Yeah, shout out LBI.
I made sure that my dad brought his little cheater box so that we could watch Bash at the Beach 1996
All right.
while we were away on vacation. And God damn it, that Hulk Hogan.
He brought
He's
you
a bad
back.
guy now.
He brought you back.
He brought me all the way back. I just couldn't believe it at the time. And now when you look back at it, with 2020 vision, I don't think that there's ever been a turn that's even come remotely close.
No, not at all.
It changed wrestling forever. Not only because your all-American hero is now the face of this de facto group, but what was for years the number two, but a really far
distant
number two, is now jumping what everybody thought would be, the number one wrestling company for forever.
Yeah.
And so not only was the shock of, Hogan becoming a bad guy, like jolting, but now I'm full-fledged. I'm Nitro.
Yeah.
I'm watching both. I'm all in on WCW, and so it's really changed the way that I looked at wrestling, because there was never anything that shocked me the way that this did when I was a kid. And now looking back at it, it's maybe the best. I mean, it did run its course fairly quickly. In terms of when you watch it back, but it's the biggest moment in the history of the business, I think.
So this, I mean, and I think I'll agree with you on a lot of points. Like, it's the best turn. It's an out of nowhere situation. You never, I mean, you could kind of see where, you know, the actual like tried and true WCW fans were not having Hogan in the South, right?
Oh no.
And it's always like a well, what if scenario, but it's like, well, what if? But he'd never do that. There's a lot at stake. He's the franchise of their company, and so for it to actually like take place, to go down that way, and for it to be as good as it was, especially when it first started, certainly leads a lot. Like that's where it's like, if this was, you know, a year earlier and you didn't have Hall and Nash there, obviously that might have been a little bit flatter, and it might have turned a lot of people off. And it's like, well, who cares? But I think there was an excitement. It hit mainstream. This was like a, you know, not a Sports Center moment, but it was the type of thing that, like, you know, they talked about on like morning talk shows. Oh yeah. You know, and they covered in you know, certain newspapers and you know, especially ones that had wrestling columns and had like a lean towards, like, you know, at least paying attention to what Hogan was doing, that had recognized that he was in WCW and all this other stuff. So that's, you know, that certainly is something I remember. And again, even me going back, like, because I'm a trifle bit older than you are, I briefly had a little bit of Hulkamania. I got over that really fast because there were far more people compelling in the WWF at the time. But still, just to see, like, this is the Hulk Hogan of the red and the yellow and the you know, he was kind of an asshole to his friends, and certainly, like, you know, maybe there's another scenario like where somebody would have been like, listen, Hogan's being a real dickhead to Randy Savage. Right. And he's grabbing his squeezes butt all the time.
Hashtag Heenan was always right.
Yeah, right. You know, maybe we shouldn't, like, you know, trust in him all that much. But the way that he was portrayed, and then to do like a complete 180, interestingly enough, I think, you know, it made Hogan far more appealing until you watch them in the ring again, and it was like, all right, he's just, you know, he's just outright cheating instead of like, you know, behind the referee's back, like, you know, poking somebody in the eye or throwing salt in their face. So yeah, for that time frame, it certainly was something to bring you back, something to kind of get the WWF fans that were out there like reinvigorated and kind of say like, all right, well, WCW's got something going on, you know.
And not only that, but like the way that they introduced Hall and Nash, where like Hall comes down through the crowd in like plain clothes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And kind of just interrupts a match that's in the middle of happening, and just, you know, cuts that promo. Mm-hmm. You know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here, and all that shit. And it's like the way that they did it was so perfect that as a younger kid, I'm looking at it like, whoa, that's Razor Ramon. Mm-hmm. He's WWF. He's not supposed to be on the show. Like, what's going on?
Right. Yeah.
So that you really, like, kids buy into it, but then like the older people are like, oh shit, this is something that we've never seen anything like this before.
Yeah. This is. It looks like an invasion. It feels like an invasion. And god damn it, if this is going to be like the way that it's going to go, like, I'm sticking around to watch this. And you know, and Hall and Nash are cool wrestlers, and they had the cachet of being top guys in WWF 3 months before that, and then here they are, like, front and center for something that's brand new and something that made, you know, again, made WCW, which again it had its merits. You know, early Nitro. Early Nitro, I think they had a little momentum, like in the early part of '96, especially the undercard stuff. Mm-hmm. But then when you had cool stuff that was starting to seep into the main event, and it wasn't the same old shit over again, then it was like, well, you know, now we're gonna see what direction this takes us in, and how this becomes something. But you know, we're not just gonna look at the history and you know, pat them on the back for this. Dropkick Basement is all about rewriting history. So, from your perspective, how would you make it different? Take it away, Tommy.
So the thing is that I don't think you could make it better, because there's just, I mean, it was pretty much as perfect as could be. However, there was a very real chance that Heath said no to doing it.
Oh yeah,
It
yeah,
took a lot of convincing, from the stories you hear, it took a lot of convincing for him to actually go along with this idea. So
yeah.
up until almost the day of, from, the stuff that you hear and you listen to, it might not have happened because you know, he was like, I'm, this is gonna tank me.
I have a
If
TV show. I have,
I have a TV show,
Make a Wish stuff.
my
Yeah,
merch,
yeah.
yeah, my merch won't sell, all that kind of stuff. So, there was a possibility that it wasn't going to happen. So, I came up with five scenarios in which Hogan says no. Who is the third man, and where does it go from there?
Okay. All right.
So
I'm
the
ready.
first is, one of the more logical, and it's Sting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, in that situation, you're really not going to see it coming because Sting is in this match opposing Hall and Nash, and
Right.
there's no tie from Sting to Hall and Nash.
Not
So
really. No.
this would be a way in the scenario that I came up with. This kickstarts the Crow Sting era.
Oh,
So
okay.
there
All right.
isn't these months of brooding, and he's slowly turning. This is kind of like a drop the ball, like ball drops, boom, Sting on Monday night. Sting comes out with Hall and Nash. He's Crow Sting.
He's in his okay.
Because that's another person that aside from his early career, Sting had never in WCW been like the heel.
No, no. He was.
So that would be, for WCW fans especially, that's a shocking moment.
That's a big shock. Yeah, yeah. And what's funny when you say that, like he's Crow Sting from the beginning. I believe Crow Sting the idea for that was given to him by Scott Hall.
Yeah.
He was like, check out, look at this character. It's dark. It's something that's, you could really kind of change the perception of what Sting is. Now you're a vigilante rather than being like the surfer and the, beating your chest and owl. So that would be interesting to see. Now, the question that I have, and again, this all goes back to, I guess when Hall and Nash first got there, the first confrontation, the first guy that they actually met face to face, Scott Hall met face to face at the end of that show, was Sting.
Yes.
Is there any inclination there that he's gonna, be convincing him to join their side, or is that just you leave it the way that it is and it's ambiguous?
That's there because so it does come later on, and this is after the Hogan turn, where the insinuation that Sting is turning. So if you move that situation up, because you look at the timeline, Hall comes in May.
Yeah.
Nash comes, I think, 2 weeks later.
Yep.
Which is June.
Let's say it's early part of June, right?
The early June they do the gimmick where they powerbomb Bischoff at the Bash. So if all throughout them coming along, there's this notion that there's a guy within the company that's gonna turn, and people start pointing the finger at Sting.
Yeah. Yep.
So that is how the scenario that happens down the line that kind of turns him. I would, kind of copy and paste that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Earlier on, instead, to where that's how you, slowly you start to make the insinuations, but he's insulted by it. As the
Right,
first
yeah.
time
How
they
dare?
do
How,
it.
I'm the,
Exactly.
I've been the guy here since the beginning. We built this place together. Why would Luger? Why would you insinuate Macho? Why would you? Yeah, exactly. Like what later became the impetus of Crow Sting,
Of Crow Sting,
Crow
yes.
Sting, and It's a shame though, because that would probably deprive us if Sting joins the NWO from the beginning, we wouldn't have Imposter Sting at all. The Cobra Jeff Farmer would still have to be an undercard guy. Like, he wouldn't have been.
Well, now you have the chance to have Imposter Sting be the face Sting.
Oh,
so you have
yes.
fake Sting come in as,
I've got
as babyface Surfer Sting.
Yeah. Oh, good. At least he doesn't get buried. So, okay, all right. Get back to where you were going with this one.
All right, so, okay, so that was the first scenario that we have Sting, lifelong WCW guy, turns his back on the company and joins the defectors from the WWF.
Yeah.
To take over the company. Now this is, it's like a war from within.
Yep.
Kind of deal.
Yep.
All right, the second person, and this was another person in the match, and that's Luger.
Right.
Now, in the course of this match, he gets hurt, quote unquote, and he gets stretchered out. So now it's just Sting and Savage against Hall and Nash. So you have Luger. He's fighting off the match goes on. He's fighting off the EMTs to get back to the ring. Well, Luger, he's back to save WCW.
Oh yeah.
Throws Savage into the rack. When he's cutting the promo, now this cuts back to September 1995. Luger leaves WWF when his contract expires. He was not released. His contract just expired.
That's right. Yeah.
And shows up on the first Nitro.
Yep.
And everyone was shocked by that. So now he's cutting a promo. You thought that I was back here to save WCW?
Yeah.
Guess who sent me?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that kind of deal where it's like he was like a double agent.
He was the first, right? Exactly. He's the first double agent, and now you pitch it.
You almost pitch it like these guys. I mean, obviously you can't say it because there's going to be legal ramifications. But now you continue to pitch this as these are three WWF guys.
Yeah.
Here to take over WCW.
Right. It was a coup from a year ago.
Exactly.
That they slowly implanted themselves.
And he came back because prior to leaving, him and Sting were best buds. And now he comes back. He befriends Sting again. The two of them become tag champs. They're all together. Boom, turns his back on Sting.
And Luger was a piece of shit to begin with. Like when because he had that partnership with Sting where they won the tag belts, but he also had turned on. He joined the Dungeon of Doom for a little while. Yeah, and he was with Jimmy Hart.
Was weird.
I know. Believe me.
I always try to forget that.
But he had that never-ending feud with Savage, and he was always sort of like, again, for lack of a better term, he was just like this sort of like aloof, arrogant version of Luger, where he was like, "Oh no, the fans have got it. They have our backs. Everything's great, right, fans?" And then 2 minutes later, he's the one that's cheating in the match behind Sting's back. So I think, again, you make him a little bit more serious by doing this, but it's not too far off the breadcrumb. And you could certainly have people like Dusty on commentary or Shivani saying, like, I knew we shouldn't have brought this guy back in.
Yep.
He's poison to this company. And, screw you, Lex Luger.
And it really, like, it falls into the same kind of story you're trying to tell with Hall and Nash, where these two guys, they left to become a bigger name elsewhere.
Yep.
And now they're coming back to take over the place that didn't do them any favors.
That's right. And we all became bigger people elsewhere, and now we're back here to destroy from within.
Yep.
My only issue with that one is I think the NWO would have fizzled out very fast, just because And again, Hall and Nash like would almost have to be like singles guys behind somebody like Luger, because Luger is so limited in the ring and limited charisma wise. You know, like Lex works in small doses, but I think once you get like 2 months in, even if they are adding other people into the NWO and they're doing recruiting, if you remember when he was part of the Wolfpack, he was the most awkward and stupid part of the Wolfpack.
Yes.
So I think
this is where I think the DiBiase addition then becomes the fourth man, becomes a much bigger asset.
Sure.
I kind of think that when they did that in the original version, because you have Hogan, who's such a good talker, that DiBiase never really got a chance to shine in that role.
Yeah.
And if you have someone with the limited, promo abilities like Luger does, I think that gives DiBiase a bigger chance to shine.
Right, exactly.
It makes him a bigger deal.
Yeah.
And I think that he is so good on the mic that he would be able to carry the kind of lackluster
the shortcomings
promo abilities that Luger has.
Of Lex, yeah, for sure. Yeah. All right. So that's scenario number 2.
That's scenario number 2.
Here we go, number 3.
3 is this one. This is the one that I was having a hard, I like the idea, but I was having a hard time piecing together the puzzle. But the third person would be Flair.
Interesting. Okay.
So the thought process is, again, someone that is a WCW original, left, and then came back. And prior to leaving in 1991,
91, yep,
he was kind of starting to get the you're washed treatment. So his reasoning behind doing this would be, I want to take over and ruin the company that was trying to ruin me.
That's a good point.
And, I mean, there's nobody better at, trying to be a heel than Ric Flair.
Yeah.
And the only reason that I was having a hard time piecing this puzzle together is because he kind of already was a heel, because they're trying to redo the Horsemen at this time, but he is he's loved. It's Ric Flair.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether he's going to be a babyface or a heel, Ric Flair is going to be loved by that audience.
Exactly. Yeah. There's parts of that audience that no matter what, 2 weeks into it would have been like popping for Flair. They wouldn't have been throwing garbage at Ric Flair. That would have been like,
no,
we're right behind you, Nate. And this is a part of Ric Flair's career. I think this is where he really starts to decline. And it's funny that you say like WCW was trying to push him out in 91. They weren't trying to push him out in 96. It was like Ric Flair was drawing houses. He was good for television ratings. So they were letting him have carte blanche and do whatever he wanted. So like he had that never-ending feud with Savage that year, which did big house show business for them. And they switched the title a million times between the two of them. And Flair takes all of Macho Man's money with Elizabeth, and then they have Woman, and the princess herself, Deborah McMichael, was like in the group, and he's drinking champagne at ringside. So I think like I can see like it's a little bit tough to like thread him back through and basically say like I'm abandoning all of this fun stuff that I'm doing, and now I'm going to be part of the NWO, because it would probably inevitably Ric Flair and his sort of control over his character would be like, and there's going to be a girl for him, and there's going to be a girl for him, and then there's going to be 3 girls for me, and it'll be like almost like he could never separate himself from the Horseman image of Ric Flair. So as much as like you could really maybe find, I think this one has a little bit less longevity than even Luger.
Yeah.
Because I think, again, 2 weeks in, that crowd's going to love Flair. And 2 weeks in, Flair's going to be like, well, that crowd loves me. Even if I'm a heel, let's surround me with as much like regular Ric Flair shit as I can get. And
unless you strip that all away.
Mm-hmm.
You have him take away everything that you loved about Ric Flair.
Just sort of like invert it and bottom it out, where he's like again, with using Hogan as a scenario, yeah, you could probably wash him out, no robes, no belts, new gear,
and then on Nitro, the next night, you have Arn come out to confront him.
Oh yeah,
and then there's a big schmoz where they jump the Horseman.
You're ready to exactly. You're ready to see like really that actually brings a good scenario, because it would elevate guys like Benoit.
Yes,
it would give McMichael something to do, like from the beginning of his Horseman stint, and Arn Anderson, before he was really out with that neck injury, still had some juice left in him. So again, like I think, yeah, you make them kind of a rally babyface team. And put some WCW guys behind them. I think what would be funny is, again, back in 91, they were trying to play with Ric Flair's character. Yeah. And they were like, well, you got to cut your hair and you got to wear an earring. This would be the time where he's like, you wanted to cut my hair and give me an earring? He shaves his head in the middle of the ring. And he says, there's no more Ric Flair. There's no more long hair. There's no blondes. You're not coming back to my hotel room. And all right, now I'm starting to see where we have a true anti-Flair.
He does a full 180,
mm-hmm.
and the whole point of the NWO is to take over WCW from within.
Mm-hmm.
So, putting all of the scenarios that I kind of came up with was putting somebody that was wronged by the company in a situation to now destroy it from within.
Mm-hmm.
And Flair is one where I get like he's a heel and stuff, but he was like the antithesis of what the NWO
was going up against.
As we have come to learn it.
Yeah.
The antithesis of what it was. So just essentially doing a plug and play where he does exactly what Hogan does and takes away all of the stuff that everybody loved about him would be, I think that would be an interesting scenario, because that's something that we never saw from him.
That's cool. Yeah.
He was always this. He was always, but he was always the same thing.
Exactly. Some variation of that ladies' man Ric Flair was always part of the character, even when he was a babyface.
Yeah.
The babyface was still talking about how he's a limousine riding, jet flying.
Because in reality, when he was a heel, he's making you feel bad that you're not the guy
mm-hmm.
that he is. But then, when he's a babyface, he's making you want to be the guy that he is.
That's right. Come along for the ride with me.
He's doing the same gimmick. It's just all about who his opponent is.
Yeah, exactly. Or who he's aiming his vitriol at, and his anger, not anger, but like his arrogance at. So, all right. So that was number 3. So let's go to number 4 on your chart.
For this one I just thought would be kind of funny.
Oh, yeah.
So the whole situation is happening. We need someone to save it. Guess who comes off commentary to interrupt this whole situation? Dusty.
Okay. Oh, all right.
Dusty drops the elbow on Savage.
Oh.
And boom. Now we got Dusty. And now this is far past in-ring Dusty.
Yeah.
So this is strictly like he's the mouth. Like he is the one that is organizing
mm-hmm.
all of this chaos that is being brought into WCW. He's the mastermind of the whole situation.
He's a backstage guy. Yeah.
He's the manager. He's the mouthpiece, but he never has to actually get into the ring.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's like an interesting scenario that you would have never seen, because you always want when you have the heel, you always want him to get his comeuppance. But if he's just he's while WCW's playing checkers, he's playing chess, and he's bringing in these pieces from outside.
I'm the recruiter. I'm the guy that's bringing.
I'm the booker.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
He's, like a scenario in that situation where, he left to go to the WWF in the 80s for, because he was being squeezed out as booker.
Yeah.
And that he wound up coming back, but it's another guy that had a bone to pick.
A little bitterness. Yep.
And so I just thought that would be a fun one because, goddamn, if we could get Dusty cutting heel promos,
so
that would be fun TV.
Now that you bring this up, now that you've kind of laid this out, he should get in the ring. At some point,
eventually,
he should get in the ring.
I think you really build it,
and you ramp up the whole I was the big hero around here before you had Hulk Hogan. You had Dusty Rhodes. Yep. Hulk Hogan stole Dusty Rhodes' swagger. He stole my gimmick. He stole this. He stole that. Eventually, it leads to probably a Starrcade match with American Dream versus Hulk Hogan. Now, would that have worked better in '84 than it would work in '96? But I still think there's something to do with it. Yeah.
So would when we finally got like Hogan and Flair in '94.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
When we eventually got Hogan and Warrior at Halloween Havoc '98 again, or Hogan and Piper at Halloween Havoc.
Yeah.
All of that stuff. You're rehashing old memories.
Yeah.
But the nostalgia of it would work there.
That
would 100% work.
And I think it's very much that would be very much on par with I think kind of culturally would be on par with what happened with Hogan's turn, where you would have a lot of people talking. A lot of people in the wrestling business would be like, well, Dusty Rhodes is the epitome of the American dream, and now he's thrown it all away, and he said, up yours to the fans and up yours to WCW. I built this place. The one person who would love being in that scenario is goddamn Dusty Rhodes.
Yeah.
He would relish in it. He would,
because, I mean, for lack of a better word, he was kind of relegated. He was relegated.
Yeah, he was.
Where like you're
third guy on the microphone.
You're the silly guy on the microphone saying a bunch of wild stuff. And if you get him cutting those serious promos as a shit heel that has these two heaters to fight his battle.
Oh yeah,
for,
yeah. Oh, and more. And
I would love to see that.
And that's the whole thing. Dusty Rhodes, I'm the Pod Papa baby, and like everybody wants to work for Dusty, and that's when you start to get people turning heel. Like that's where you could see like somebody like Buff Bagwell turning heel, and or any of the kind of underneath guys like being like, well, Dusty's going to put you under his wing, baby. Scott Steiner is my guy. Like you could certainly see Dusty as like the guy and give him a prominent role. So you don't need DiBiase at this point. You just have Dusty as the guy who, and you don't need Bischoff. Frankly, like Dusty in that position, even though Bischoff grew into it better, but Dusty there would be better, and it would make more sense as a wrestling storyline than anything else.
I get that, once Bischoff turned, then they kind of like do the slow play of, oh, well, he's like the executive producer, blah, 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 blah.
Right, yeah.
But no one really was, like, the casual fan didn't know that.
They weren't wrapping their heads around that.
Why is this guy who commentates on Saturday night, like
WCW
WCW Saturday night, why is this guy, turning and being in the NWO? So, but when Dusty does it, that's like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Dusty Rhodes? The American Dream?
We're in trouble, right? This is right now. I love the Sting one. The Sting one is always in my mind. Like, what if Sting had done this? Dusty's a close second right now. I like this Dusty. Also, you know what? I came around to Dark Side Ric Flair too. So let's see what number 5. If number 5 is something like Doink the Clown, then I'm going to cut off recording now.
It's Mabel.
Yeah.
No, the final one, and there was rumors of the jump happening, and it would be Bret Hart.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
If
Yep.
if you got 97 heel Bret Hart
Yeah.
a year earlier, he actually does jump ship, and again, that's a guy now. So Hall and Nash, you have two guys who were WCW guys, went to the WWF and became stars.
Yep.
And Bret Hart comes in as the guy on the other channel.
Yeah.
And he's like, I orchestrated this whole thing. I brought them in here
I
can take over.
Yeah, I sent them first, and now you're right. Now we're taking over, and now, again, like,
and then
you really have like the new generation WWF that they had been hyping.
I would say three of the four biggest guys.
Yep.
Now you have them, and this is a scenario where obviously this one couldn't have actually happened, but this is the one where it really now it's like, okay, this is WWF is coming in and they're taking WCW over. Like this is really and now this would really get people talking, because
I think so. Yeah.
at the time Bret was the biggest guy. I mean, Shawn's the champ. They try and do the switch, and now that is another. That's another, bone that Bret has to pick. You didn't think I was the guy? Well, I'm coming over here. I'm taking over the competition.
That's right.
I'm going to prove to you that I'm the guy. And then we're going to come back there and we're going to take you over.
That's right. Yeah, little shots fired across 2 television shows. Thing with Bret also is, when you look at the babyface roster of WCW in '96, like, I know he got there in '97, started wrestling matches in '98, but
Yeah.
I don't know, when did it, like, him and Sting didn't touch until like later in '98, maybe even into '99. So you've got like Bret and Sting would be, that's what I'm saving for Starrcade, and that's going to be my match at Starrcade.
Or you could finally have Bret and Hogan.
You definitely have Bret and Hogan. You could
He
definitely
always wanted that.
a good year of having like the best of or not the best of Savage, but a capable Randy Savage still lingering
still
around. Good. You'd never really had Luger, aside from a couple shows. You never really had Luger and Bret in the WWF. You had they were circling each other, but they never really had the long-term program. And from everything you've heard or read in interviews, Kevin Nash got along with Bret really well. Loved working with Bret and would do business. So eventually, like, when you need to turn them, those guys are ready to do business with each other, because they had great matches in WWF on pay-per-view. And of course, like, again, I think it's another guy that elevates the work rate of the company itself, and maybe you have a chance to get Benoit in the main event sooner. Maybe you have a chance to get Malenko or Mysterio like up in the, because it's not like you have Hogan who's like, well, I got to beat all these guys, so why even put the vanilla midgets anywhere near me? I'm a work rate guy. Give me work rate guys, and look what I can do with them. And that could have changed the whole landscape of WCW. Could have been put into fast forward. I think that has a chance more than anybody else, even more than Hogan making that turn. I think Bret Hart would have had the chance to really like put the WWF in their rearview mirror and win these Monday Night Wars.
Instead of just plucking the old WWF guys, and like old in terms of age, and making them the main, because that's essentially what they did in WCW was they took the guys who were stars and were on their last legs, and they put them in the main event.
You laterally move them.
Exactly. And you're just rehashing shit. You're not building anyone new. These guys are already stars.
Yep.
And Hogan is not going to work with anyone who doesn't have main event status. So that's why they brought in guys like Piper.
Yeah, Warrior and
because
all that.
It's like, who's going to work with Hogan? You're not going to have fucking like at the time, like DDP's not getting in the ring with Hogan.
Yeah.
Like he's not going to give him the shot to get over. So Brett is a guy that would get in the ring with anybody and is arguably a top 5 wrestler ever.
Of course, yeah. An in-ring guy that again just elevates everybody's in-ring around him and knows how to make people stars too.
At the time, we hadn't seen we've seen heel Brett, but he always had when Brett was a heel in WWF, he had Jimmy Hart to talk for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And now you get to see him because a year later he's doing what I think is the best work of his entire career.
Yeah.
So he has a chance to do that a year earlier and really jumpstart the Monday Night Wars. And like you said, I think there would have been more jumps over. I think Brett jumping, maybe Shawn jumps when his contract's up.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean? And it just, I think that things could have went flip-flopped. Mm-hmm. And WCW could have been the company acquiring the WWF.
Yeah. And I think also with Hogan not in the spotlight, as the main guy, the heel turn in the NWO, Hogan goes back to WWF, by 97 or 98 anyway.
Yeah.
Would he fit in there? Probably not. But
no.
Maybe you could have figured out a way to make him fit there. But I think Brett in 96 in WCW is a lot more appealing than, I mean, I don't want to say because Brett ended up, you're right, he had probably his best heel run and maybe his best run as an overall character the next year in 97, leading up to that WrestleMania and then having the match with Austin and coming out of it as a full-fledged heel. But as good as that was, that's a year afterwards. He's in better shape. He'd be much more game for it.
Yep.
When you say you're doing a takeover angle here, and we're gonna make you number one heel, and you have all these guys that you now can work with, and then here's this, you have all these main event guys, and you're gonna go over all these main event guys, believe me, but then here's this other crop of guys underneath that you're gonna be able to make, and you're gonna be able to team up with and go against, and yeah.
And so at that point, we hadn't seen him since WrestleMania.
That's right, yeah.
So after Mania, he took all that time off and didn't pop back up until Survivor Series or whatever.
Yeah, it would have been that October, yeah.
So you haven't seen him in a while, and this almost makes a logical sense because it's oh, did he leave?
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't been on WWF
here, yeah.
TV. It's
yeah.
not like he's fresh off. So that I think that would make it seem even more, like a shoot kind of deal.
Yeah, very interesting.
So I think that was my favorite.
Okay.
Of the scenarios, because I just think he's one of my favorites ever, and him in that scenario, I would have loved to see.
It would have been gold. Yeah. I'm just trying to think of anybody else that we missed. I would have, if I was going to do this scenario, and I, had a couple of notes written down, it was going to be Sting, and it would have been, basically very similar to, I don't think I would have made him the Crow Sting per se, but very much and I would take the makeup off him.
That.
And it's you got Kevin Nash using his real name, Scott Hall using his real name. I'm Steve Borden. I come here to wrestle. I come here to beat your guys, and and you've got Sting and it ultimately you just you get Sting and Hogan sooner than having to wait until Starrcade 97 to do it.
Yeah,
because it would be, and it would, in my estimation, it would be, you would be telling Hogan listen, do business. Let Sting go over because we've got a red hot angle here and he needs to do it. Also, the way that I thought about it is Sting starts to bring over the guys that are, again, somebody like DDP would make sense in the NWO at that point because he'd be hey, listen, I came up with Stinger. I was working with Hall and Nash. When I was a manager, I'm going to be here and he would be a heel in the NWO. So you'd have him as the foundation. You could still have Six. You could probably have the Giant, but I would say like maybe you have kind of a super team with the Giant and Hogan defending WCW, and you got Hall, Nash, Dallas Page, Sting, and again you start to bring a few other people as they start to actually win. You know, not by the mega force that you know that Hogan's version of the NWO did, but more with the hey, they recruited one of our guys, so they must be convincing. There must be a strength in numbers thing that they're going for, and you'd have a lot more people that would be eventually be convinced to come over to that version of the NWO, but still, I'm very intrigued by Dusty Rhodes being the Pied Piper too. So it's very it's very cool stuff, and there's a million scenarios that you could think of that. You know, even if it wasn't just like, hey, let's just imagine who the third man is. You know, you could imagine like, well, how long is it supposed to last? Should it have lasted 3 years or whatever? You know, however long it ran out. You know, I will always debate that they went on too long and they split those factions. They split those factions too late, and they did it in such a sloppy way that you just had the same main event guys that had been there from the beginning of it. They're still dicking around. It's still Savage. It's still Sting. It's still Luger and Hogan and Hall and Nash, and change the lineup, change the scenario, and get some more people in there. So,
and I also think that just consistently and piling on and adding everybody to it really detracted from the specialness of it.
Yes.
When you have a small group of guys that is running roughshod over an entire company, it makes them seem so much more badass than when you add fucking IRS and Virgil into it.
Right.
And you know, they're fucking wrestling Mike Enos.
Yeah.
Like, we don't need this.
Right.
We don't need this.
Out of the second match on Nitro doesn't have to be an NWO guy versus a lower card guy just because he was NWO this week. Like Big Bubba turning NWO made no sense. No. I also, and I didn't really think about it all that much, but had heard on some YouTube clip they were talking about obviously how Hogan's a complete liar, and I guess when they were first coming to him to pitch the NWO, his whole thing was like, yeah, it's cool that we have like Hall and Nash, but I want the Nasty Boys and Brutus Beefcake. And I want them in my faction.
Unfortunately, we got Brutus Beefcake.
Eventually, you got Brutus Beefcake in it. And I think at the very beginning, the Nasty Boys were like, yeah, we're going to join it. And then somebody in the booking committee was like, this is the stupidest thing in the world. Get these fucking fat Nasty Boys the fuck out of here. And Beefcake sucks. And you've tried the Booty Man. You just brought him back, and he was heel turn Zodiac and Butcher Man and all that other shit. They were like, no, we can't have it your way, Terry Jean. You have to play by our rules. Give us something to work with, and you can be the big bad heel. But yeah, imagine how shitty it would have been over in like 3 months if it was. Forget 3 months. I think it would have 3 weeks. If it was the Nasty Boys and Brutus,
oh my God,
tagging along for, I know. Well, this is Hogan.
Listen, I love the Nasty Boys, but not in that situation.
Not at all. No. All right. Well, that'll wrap up this episode. I think we certainly honored the NWO as much as possible.
Yep. July is for sure NWO month.
July is NWO month. Next year around this time, we'll have another NWO discussion, and we'll
rebooking the Wolfpack.
We'll rebook the Wolfpack, but it can only be guys that are from that aren't the stars. So like,
rebooking the NWO from WWE.
Yeah. Bring in Coco Beware. But anyway, so yeah, this is a very good one. We got another episode coming up in a couple weeks. This is one of our Rebook the Card episodes. So you certainly want to pay attention. I think we had a very good successful run with rebooking those WrestleManias. and get ready for us to be rebooking some bad SummerSlams.
Let's see if we can juice up some SummerSlams.
Let's juice up some SummerSlams. But for Tommy Schultz, this is Mike Madden, and the absentee Matt Geiger is also in our posse. So we hope to see you guys or hear from you guys very soon, and have a great night.